Hello and good morning friends, welcome to the CEC-UGC live lecture. Dear friends, with our ongoing series on business organization management, in our previous session we talked on different forms of ownership. Today we would be discussing on last form of ownership, that is cooperative societies, and for this very discussion we have once again with us in our studios Dr. Asha Kiran Gupta. Dr. Asha Kiran Gupta is Associate Professor in Department of Commerce, Sri Aurobindo College, University of Delhi. Dr. Gupta has immense experience, and her experience would definitely help us out in understanding the topic in detail. So let's welcome Dr. Asha Kiran Gupta and let's try to grab maximum knowledge through her. Hello ma'am, welcome to the EduSet lecture.
Thank you. Good morning everyone. Now I am discussing about the last topic of the form of ownership, that is the cooperative society. Now first of all, what do you mean by cooperative society? Cooperative society is a voluntary association of persons who join together on the basis of equality for the fulfillment of their economic or business interest. As I told you, there are different forms of ownership. Earlier I discussed about sole proprietorship, partnership, limited liability partnership, company and joint Hindu family. Now we are discussing about cooperative society. It is also again a voluntary form of ownership where the people who join hands together to fulfill their common interest. Now the features of cooperative society. First is it is voluntary association, second is open membership, third is democratic control, fourth is service motive, fifth is compulsory registration, sixth is separate legal entity, seventh is equitable disposal of surplus, and last is government control. Now I am going to discuss all these features in brief. First is voluntary association. As I told you that there is no compulsion from the side of the cooperative society that every person should become the member of this society. Whosoever is interested in this society, only they join hands together to fulfill their common objectives. Basically, such type of societies, they are formed just to serve the society, and their objective is not to earn profits, but their objective is just to serve the society as a whole. Second is open membership. As I told you that in a cooperative society, since the people they join this organization voluntarily, so at any time they may join this form of society, they may join this form of ownership, and at any time when they want they can exit immediately from that cooperative society. Third is democratic control. As I told you that there are number of people are working together to run the cooperative society, so all the people they take collective decision to serve the society. So in that way we can say that there is a democratic control in the cooperative society for the functioning of the society as a whole. Fourth is service motive. As I told you that in the cooperative society, the objective is not to earn profit, but to serve the society, to serve the welfare of the society. Such type of societies are formed. So in that case, their motive is to serve the society. Next is compulsory registration. As I told you that in company, in LLP, the registration is mandatory. Similarly, in this case also, when you are going to open the cooperative society, in that case, its registration is compulsory under Cooperative Societies Act. Only then it will become the legal body and it has a separate legal existence. Next is separate legal entity. As I told you that once this society is registered under Societies Registration Act, it has a separate legal entity. It means it can sue anybody who is not performing the duties or not performing the contract properly with that society, and even anyone can sue the society as a whole because it has a separate legal entity. Now it has an identity in the eyes of law. Next is equitable disposal of surplus. As the people join this society voluntarily, at any time they may join or they may exist, they can disperse their surpluses in equal ratio. It means there is no percentage of ratio, rather everybody has to join, everybody has to share the surplus equally if there is any surplus is in the society. Next is government control. As I told you that this society again has to go for registration. For getting registration, it has to fulfill certain legal formalities, and those legal formalities come under the purview of the government control. So you can say that the cooperative society, they have to follow certain rules and regulations. That is why the government also exercises some kind of control over such societies. Next topic is merits of cooperative society. Now, the cooperative society is started not because of to earn profits but to serve the society as a whole, and it is created for the social welfare of the community. Now, the first merit is ease of formation. As I told you, minimum 2 people are essential for every kind of ownership except sole proprietorship. So, just like in company, lot of legal formalities are to be fulfilled to start up a company, but in case of cooperative society, now too much legal formalities are not there, but somehow the few legal formalities one has to follow to get the society registered under the Society Registration Act. So in that way we can say that it is easy to form cooperative society as compared to formation of a company. Second is limited liability. The liability of the members of the cooperative society is limited, just like the liability in case of members of a company. The limited liability means that the liability of the members is limited up to the extent of the capital contribution by an individual member in that cooperative society. It means their private property is not at all included in case the society is not able to pay its debts. Next is stability. As it is registered under Cooperative Societies Registration Act, it has a separate legal entity. Separate legal entity means that the life of the business or the society is not dependent upon the life or death of the members of the society. It means it will continue as long as it may want to continue without affected by the life of its member. So in that case we can say that it is more stable as compared to sole proprietorship and partnership firm. Next is democratic management. As I told you that when more number of people are working together, then the decisions cannot be taken by an individual only. As you must have seen that in case of sole proprietorship or in case of partnership, only single or only few people are there to take the decisions. But in case of company and the society, since more number of people are involved, more number of people are the member of this concern, so the more number of people take active participation in decision making, and hence it leads to democratic management. Next is low operating cost. As I told you that this society is not formed just to make profits but just to serve the society as a whole, and hence when they are working on this the welfare, their motive is to serve the society as a whole. So they operate, their operation cost is low. Next is social utility. As I told you that the society is formed not to earn profits but to serve the society as a whole. So in that way we can say that it has a social utility. Now the merits are over. Next topic is demerits of cooperative society. Now first is incompetent management. As I told you that there is democratic style of management, but few people become the member of this society because their motive is not to earn profit but to serve the society or to have the social welfare. Therefore, the people who are not interested to serve the society, or the people who are interested to earn profits, they do not join such type of form of ownership. So in that way we can say that since we have limited people who voluntarily wants to serve the society, so in that way we can say that as compared to company, we have limited skill, limited knowledge and limited workforce. So in that way we can say that there is incompetent management. Second is limited financial resources. As I told you, the society is not to gain profits but to serve the society, to have the social welfare. So in that case, the people, those who want to earn money, those who make profits, they do not join this society, this form of ownership. So in that way we can say that only few or handful number of people, they join this form of ownership. Hence in that way we can say that we have limited financial resources. Third is lack of motivation. The cooperative society is basically formed to serve the society, or to have the objective is to have the social welfare. So in that case, when nothing is gained by the people who are working for the welfare of the society, sometimes they become less motivated because the money is not there, they do not get any kind of reward, and moreover sometimes the people, the society also criticize those people. So in that way they can say that there is lack of motivation. Next is lack of secrecy. As compared to sole proprietorship and partnership, since more number of people, they are working, they have joined this form of ownership, now they have formed the cooperative society, the management style is democratic style, the people cannot take decision on their own, rather they have to take decisions collectively. So in that way we can say that the secrets cannot in the hands of few people only, rather the secrets are leaked out easily because the more number of people are taking active participation in the functioning of this society. So in that way we can say that there is lack of secrecy. Next is excessive state regulations. As I told you that this form of ownership is also to be registered with the Cooperative Societies Registration Act. So it has to follow various rules and regulations for getting itself registered with this act. So in that way we can say that it has excessive state regulations as compared to sole proprietorship and partnership firm. Next is lack of public confidence. When the society is working for the welfare of the community as a whole, so sometimes they gain less public confidence because they do not invite general public for subscription, and people think that whatever work is done, that is done in totally in confidential, and the secrecy is highly maintained. So in that way they do not gain the public confidence. Now after discussing about various forms of ownership like sole proprietorship, partnership firm, limited liability partnership firm, one person company, joint Hindu family, and joint stock company, private company, and cooperative societies, now the person is in dilemma that which form of or what form of ownership he should go for. So in that case we can say that after looking number of factors, one can find out that if you want to start any kind of business, and that which form of ownership one is going for. So the next topic is choice of form of ownership, that according to your capacity, after watching various number of factors, you can find out that which form of ownership is suitable for your type of business. First is type of business. Now in this, first factor is type of business. In this you will study what is the nature and the type of business one wants to conduct, and then accordingly the person has to decide about the suitable form of ownership. As you know that some business they require personal attention and personal care, whereas there are some business where the personal attention and care is not at all needed. So in case if you want to start the business which needs personal care and the personal attention, or where you want to give direct services to your customers, in that case one should go for sole proprietorship or partnership, and if the business requiring pool of funds or pool of skills, in that case that person may go for company according to his needs. Second is scale of operations. Scale of operation means size and area of operations. Generally large scale industries having national or international markets can organize more successfully as compared to private or public companies, as large size companies required large size financial and managerial resources which are beyond the capacity of a single person or few persons. So they should go for company, whereas on the other hand the small scale or medium scale firms, they are generally go for partnership and sole proprietorship firm. Next is degree of control. Now, if you want, degree of control means that how much control you can exercise. If you want that there should be an autocratic control or centralized control, you don't want to share control with anybody else, then one should go for sole proprietorship or partnership. But if you want that the control should be decentralized, in that case one may opt for company or private company or public company or cooperative societies. Next factor is amount of capital required. If your amount of capital required means how much capital is needed for the business. If you think that your business is operating at a small scale and you need only small amount of capital, in that case one may go for sole proprietorship, and in that case you can manage capital on your own. But if you find that you cannot manage capital on your own, rather you are working at a larger scale and you need more amount of funds, in that case you may go for LLP, you may go for private company, or you may go for public company. So, and if you want that you cannot manage capital on your own, rather you want to borrow capital from outside, again you can go for company. Next is degree of risk involved. As I told you that in case of sole proprietorship firm, if the business fails, in that case the liability of paying of debt lies on the shoulders of the owner itself. It means if the firm is not able to pay its debts, in that case the owner has to make payments out of his private property. If the success is there, if the business is successful, in that case the owner will have to bear all the profits. But if the business goes on losses, in that case again the owner has to pay off all these losses from his pockets only. But in case of company, if the business runs or if runs successfully, or if it goes on losses, in that case the people or the members or the partners, they have to bear losses only up to the amount of shares held by them. It means their private property is not be included to pay off the debts of the company. So in that case, if you want to bear the whole risk, in that case you can go for sole proprietorship. If you don't want to bear 100% risk on your shoulders, rather risk should be divided among the partners, in that case you may go for partnership, LLP, private company, public company. Next is division of surplus. If you want to share profits among the number of members, in that case you may go for LLP, company. And if you don't want to share profits with anybody else, or only few people should bear the share the profits, in that case you may go for sole proprietorship and partnership. Next is duration of business. If somebody wants that the business should go as long as it can, then it should go for company. And if a person thinks that business should die with the death of the person himself, then he may go for sole proprietorship and partnership. Next is relative freedom from government regulations. If you want that the government should not interfere in the affairs of your business, in that case you may go for sole proprietorship and partnership. And but if you want that yes, some rules and regulations should be, or some interference should be there by the government, in that case you may go for company or LLP, because in such cases for getting registration you have to fulfill certain legal formalities, and which only be possible in case of LLP and company. Thus from the above analysis, now all the factors have been discussed by me, and after looking or after analysis of all those factors, one may find out that the basic consideration in the choice of form of ownership is the nature and size of the business. Once you have decided about the nature and size of the business, then all other factors which you will discuss or which you will see later on, that all are dependent on this basic feature, that is the nature and size of the business. So thus the nature and size of the business, it is the key factors in the choice of form of ownership. Now the topic form of ownership is over. The next topic is basic considerations in setting up the enterprise. Now, before understanding the basic considerations in setting up the enterprise, first of all, we should understand that who undertakes the idea of setting up the enterprise or entrepreneurship. Before understanding the meaning of entrepreneurship, let us know who is an entrepreneur. Now, I am going to discuss that what do you mean by entrepreneur. Entrepreneur, in the layman's language, he is the opportunist. It means the person who is the innovator or risk taker or reassembler, or who undertakes the idea of starting an enterprise is known as the entrepreneur. In other words, the entrepreneur examines the potential new markets, obtain resources to meet attractive opportunities, and initiates production and sales. However, the entrepreneur identifies the opportunities after undertaking a process which is called entrepreneurship. Thus, one may say that entrepreneurship is the process of identifying opportunities in the marketplace. This means, according to this definition, the important aspects of entrepreneurship are risk, innovation, and resource organization. In entrepreneurship, a set of activities are performed by an entrepreneur, and hence one can say that entrepreneur precedes entrepreneurship. Now, nature of entrepreneurship. First is, it is an economic activity. Economic activity means that entrepreneur involves creation of opportunities of an enterprise and hence involves creation of value or wealth. As I told you that economic activity is that activity which leads to the generation of profits or wealth. Thank you. Nature of entrepreneurship. The first feature is economic activity. As I told you that economic activity deals with the generation of profits or generation of wealth. So the entrepreneurship is also the economic activity because its aim is to generation of the profits by selling new products. Second is creative activity. As I told you that entrepreneur is a person who is a creator or innovator. So in this case, in case of entrepreneurship, now the entrepreneur involves innovation or production of either new products or he is using new technology for the production. Therefore, we can say that the entrepreneur is a person who recognizes the changes in the environment and hence thinks of producing goods to meet the emerging demands or the new demands of the environment. So in that way, we can say that it is a creative activity. Third is dynamic process. As I told you that entrepreneur is the innovator or the risk bearer or the opportunist. So he brings the new opportunity for the business according to the changes in the environment. So in this way we can say that it is a dynamic process as it involves the meeting of new or dynamic changes in the environment. Next feature is that purposeful activity. As I told you that entrepreneurship is a purposeful activity of an individual or group of individuals who want to earn profits through production and distribution of economic goods and services. Next feature is risk element. Entrepreneur makes decisions when uncertainties are prevailing in the environment. It means he finds out the new opportunities for new goods or new methods of production to meet the challenges of the environment. So we can say that it is also the entrepreneur is not sure whether the new products will be accepted by the society or not, or whether new way of producing goods will be successful or not. In that case, he is not sure about the success of the business. So in that way, we can say that in case of entrepreneurship, there is a presence of risk element. Next is organization building. The next feature is that the entrepreneur is a person who is also the resource assembler. So in that way we can say that he assembles and coordinates other factors of production like land, labor and capital. So in that way we can say that he is an organization building. Now the nature of entrepreneurship is over. I am going to discuss with you about the traits of an entrepreneur. The trait means that is everybody is fit to be an entrepreneur, or there are certain qualities which should be present in a human being so that he can be an entrepreneur. So one can see after watching these features that whether a person is an entrepreneur or not. These features are: first is innovative ability. Innovative ability means that whether the person has any creative ability or not. Creative ability means that whether the person is able to search new ideas or not. If the person is searching new ideas constantly, in that case we can say that the person is having innovative ability. Second trait is desire to accomplish. When the entrepreneur has a strong desire to accomplish something, then he wants to proportion his time in finding out new ways of doing the things. Third is risk taking. Whether the entrepreneur who is deciding or who is thinking about the new ideas or new products, he has a potential to bear the risk for the failure of the business or not. If the person is having the risk bearing capacity, in that case we can say that yes, he can be a good entrepreneur or not. Next feature is energetic activity. As I told you that the entrepreneur is a person who is a risk bearer, who is an innovator, who collects the various resources and then he channelizes those resources in an effective and efficient manner. So in all this way the energy is used. So we can say that the people who are lazy by nature, they don't go for new ideas, they don't take opportunities, they don't take challenges from the society. So in that way we can say that entrepreneur is a person who actually indulges in energetic activity. Next is future orientation. As I told you that the entrepreneur is a person who is an innovator, who meets the challenges of the environment, who foresights the challenges of the environment, and then he decides about that what product should be produced to meet the demand of the society. So in that case we can say that he thinks about the future, he anticipates possibilities which are he can go and he can give them a result. Next is desire for responsibility. As I told you that entrepreneur is ready to be personally responsible for the results of his decisions. If he has decided about to produce new products which will meet the future demand, in that case he cannot give this kind of responsibility on the shoulders of others, that because of you he has started to produce these products. It means he himself is the deciding factor to produce new products or not. Next is skill in organizing. The next feature that entrepreneur should have, that he should have high skill in organizing work and human resources, because if he has no skill in organizing such resources, in that case it is very difficult for him to assemble all these resources in an effective and efficient manner. Next is flexibility. It means that entrepreneur should be flexible and he should have the adaptable attitude. Only then he can earn profits, otherwise it is very difficult for him to earn the profit, and he can change according to the changes in the society. Next is self-confidence. It means whatever decided by the entrepreneur, he should have enough confidence among himself that whatever decision is taken by him, that will be appropriate, and those decisions will meet the future challenges in the environment. So in that way he should have this kind of feature also. After discussing about the traits of entrepreneur, now I am going to discuss with you about the functions of an entrepreneur. Now various roles are performed by the entrepreneur, which are: first is innovator. Being an innovator, as I told you that entrepreneur is an innovator. Before understanding the meaning of innovator, what do you mean by innovation? As there are two terms in which seems to be alike, but they are quite different from each other. One is invention and other is innovation. Invention means when you are inventing or discovering any new idea or any new product. But innovation means already the idea is discovered, but you are using in the new modified ways. It means when an innovator, when an entrepreneur, he tries to develop new technology, products in the markets, that means one may say that entrepreneur is an innovator. Innovation generally means doing new things in a new ways or doing new things. It may involve introduction of new goods, new techniques, introduction of new services, introduction of new markets, and he does not believe in status quo, but he believes in changes. Second function is that he is the bearer of risk and uncertainty. An entrepreneur assumes business risk and is prepared for losses that may arise because of unforeseen contingencies in future. This willingness to take risk allows him to take initiative in doing new things or trying new methods of production. Third function is promoter. Traditionally, an entrepreneur undertakes the risk of setting up small enterprises, just like sole proprietorship. Just like promoter, he also conceives a business idea, conducts feasibility studies, takes steps to get company registered, and raise capital for the company from public and other sources. However, in case of company, entrepreneur is called promoter, whereas in other cases, the person will be called as entrepreneur only. Next is supplier of capital. In several cases, the entrepreneur starts the business with his own financial resources. Thus, he supplies initial capital to the business and undertakes the business risk. Next feature is manager. In most cases, small entrepreneur also play the role of managers. As manager, he has to plan, organize, directs, and controls the activities of the business. But when the size of the business grows considerably, then the entrepreneur can employ professionals or the professional managers who will conduct the business more effectively and efficiently. Now, after discussing about the functions of the entrepreneur, I am going to discuss with you about the entrepreneurial process. As I told you that entrepreneur he does not identify ideas on his own. He does not start the new business or production of new products on his own. Rather, he has to go for certain steps so that to get this kind of information that what is needed in the society in future. For doing this thing, he has to follow various steps, which are as number one is identification of business opportunities. Now, before launching the enterprise, the entrepreneur has to study all the possible factors which may affect the selection of the type of business to be taken up. He has to identify, select, and explore various business opportunities properly. As you know that there are a lot of opportunities available in the world of business, but they all are not visible to everyone. They are visible only to those who constantly remain in search for them. Thus, entrepreneur has to collect necessary information from various sources in his research for business opportunities. Now, you will think how he gets the idea. So, the first is generation of business idea. The important task of an entrepreneur is the generation of an idea which is new and appears to be worthwhile for further use. This involves a lot of creativity on the part of the entrepreneur. While selecting business idea, the following points should be considered, which are as follows. First, the business idea should enable the entrepreneur to utilize his professional and technical skills. Second is that it should enable the use of locally available raw material for the product or services. Third, it should ensure making of those products which have a great demand but are not easily available in the market. Next is it should enable the entrepreneur to solve a current problem existing in the market. There are various sources through which an entrepreneur may get the business idea, which are as follows. First is surveys of market. Now, you must be thinking how entrepreneur obtains the ideas. The ideas do not crop up in his mind, rather he has to go for the survey of various markets. These markets may be national markets or international market, depending upon depending upon the potential of the entrepreneur. So, the entrepreneur he conducts a survey of domestic as well as international market to understand the demand and supply of various products and services. In this way, he finds out the scope of producing those products whose supply is limited and not fulfilling the demand of the customer. So, in that case, he can conduct the survey of market by taking advice from the manufacturers, distributor, wholesalers and retailers. Second, from where he can get the business idea is surveys of prospective customers. Once it is known that there is a greater demand for the product, it is advisable to contact the prospective consumers to find out their requirements. And if he finds out that the prospective consumers are demanding new changes in the existing product, then he may think of introducing those changes in those products and hence develop product accordingly. Third, third source of getting idea is survey of resources. Sometimes resources are available in large quantities, while sometimes they are available in limited quantity only. Therefore, the choice of production of the product depends upon the availability of the resources, and therefore, before producing a new product, it is essential for the entrepreneur to find out whether the limited resources or abundance resources are available or not. Next way of getting the business idea is through trade fairs and visiting the trade fairs and exhibition. In trade fairs and exhibitions, people from various areas they come and then they exhibit their new products or new technology for the production. So by visiting these places, now the entrepreneur can get idea of what should be produced by him, so that will meet the future demand or future challenges of the environment. Next source for getting the business idea is the institutions. As the government has set up various institutions which provide different kind of informations to the entrepreneur for producing or certain type of products or not. In that case, he can visit those institutions and can gather the information regarding the technical, financial, marketing and other areas of that product or business idea. Next source for getting business idea is study of global trends. It means every day new products and technologies are introduced in the different parts of the world. So in order to find out the new methods or new technology or the new product, it is essential for the entrepreneur that before starting or before launching any enterprise, he should study the global market and he should know what the products are available, what the future need of the product, need of the customers, what are the future challenges of the customers or the environment. So he can get these informations through newspapers, business magazines, internet and other publications. After collecting so many informations, now all project ideas are screened on the basis of various factors which are as follows. First, the project should be compatible with the objectives and resources of the enterprise. Now, after getting business ideas, he is not getting only one idea, rather he is getting number of business ideas. So now the question arises that which business idea should be feasible, which business idea he should go for. So in that case, to judge the most effective business idea, he has to study various factors, out of which the first factor is that he should see that the project should be compatible with the objectives and resources of the enterprise. Second factor is that it should also match with the capabilities and skills of the entrepreneur. Third is that the resources required for the project, such as capital, technical know-how, raw materials, power supply, etc., must be assured. Next is the cost structure of the proposal must enable reasonable return on the investment. Next factor is the effect of external environment should also be considered. And the last factor is that the project idea must be consistent with the government policies and regulations. Now, after selecting the best, after evaluating various ideas on the basis of various factors, now the third step is under the entrepreneur process is feasibility study. Now, what do you mean by feasibility study? Feasibility study provides a basis for investment decisions on an industrial project. The purpose of feasibility study is to examine the viability of the project. This feasibility study is presented in the form of project report so that it is easier to get sanction from the project from the concerned authorities. The various aspects of the viability of the project are evaluated by the concerned authorities on the basis of feasibility study. The feasibility study should contain an analysis of the following aspects, which are as follows. It means if you want to see whether your project is viable, whether it is practical or not, again we have to see we have to test or we have to study the various aspects on which we can conclude that the prospective project is viable or feasible or practical. These aspects are: number one is technical aspect, second is commercial aspect, third is financial aspect, and fourth is socio-economic aspect. If we see that on the basis of these four aspects our project is viable, then the entrepreneur should go for initiating or for starting that entrepreneur or that product or that project. Now the question arises, what do you mean by all these aspects? Now I am going to discuss with you the first aspect, that is called technical aspect. It means, technical aspect means whatever product, whatever technology, whatever method of production for that particular product the entrepreneur is going to undertake, whether the technique is available or not. It means, again, for judging the technical aspect, following factors should be considered. Such factors are: A. Location, second plant capacity, third is plant and equipment, fourth is infrastructure, fifth is effluent treatment and discharge, and last is foreign collaboration. Now I am going to discuss all these points in brief, which will specify the technical feasibility or technical aspect of the project. First is location. The feasibility study should define the location which is suitable for the project. Selection of location refers to the selection of geographical area where project is to be located. However, the required site characteristics should also be kept in the mind while selecting the location. Now, the second factor is plant capacity. Scale of operation is an important factor that determines the economic and financial viability of a project. Third is plant and equipment. The feasibility study should define the technology required for the concerned project, evaluate technological alternatives, and select the most appropriate technology in terms of optimum combination of project components. The feasibility study should consider the adequacy and suitability of plants and equipments and their specification, plant layout, etc. Next feature is infrastructure. Proper functioning of a project depends upon the sufficiency and efficiency of the infrastructure, like facility to transport raw materials and other inputs, facility to transport and distribute the output, power and fuel supply, storage and warehousing facilities, etc. Next factor is effluent treatment and discharge. Effluent treatment and discharge means that what will be the treatment of the waste which is created by that industry or that organization. So again, disposal of effluent is a major problem for number of industries like chemical industries, paper industry, wood industry, etc. And the feasibility report should provide relevant details about the plan for effluent treatment and disposal. Next is foreign collaboration. The next feature is that the project report of the project should involve whether involving foreign collaboration or not. If the project is involving foreign collaboration, then it should contain relevant details about the collaboration. One should see the terms and the condition of the project should not go against the rules and regulation of the country where that project is going to take place. After after examining the technical aspect in case of feasibility report or feasibility study, now the second aspect is commercial aspect. Commercial aspect means the commercial viability of a project. This means that again the commercial viability of the project depends upon the size of the market and demand for the product and services to be produced by the proposed project. A project is considered commercially viable if it is able to market its product competitively in the domestic as well as in the international markets at reasonable profit. Now, the third aspect of the feasibility study is the financial aspect. Financial aspect means we have to see that how much finance is required to undertake that particular project. It means and in this the entrepreneur has to analyze the working results, balance sheet, cash flow for the last few years in case of existing concern, and also an examination of following aspects in existing as well as in new project. So the entrepreneur has to see, while looking at the financial aspect, the various factors which are as follows. First is the estimated cost of the project. Second, the projection of future profitability. Third is projection of cash flow both during the construction and operation periods of the project. Next is internal rate of return, debt service coverage, resource cost, etc. And last is capital contributed by the entrepreneur, debt equity ratio, and availability of anticipated resources, etc. After understanding this aspect, the last aspect is socio-economic aspect. In case of private sector, projects evaluation is done in the terms of commercial profitability of a project. But what about in case of public projects like irrigation projects, power projects, etc., where the objective is not to earn profits but to serve the society, but it as a whole, or they are created just to give the benefit to the society. So in case of socio-economic viability of the project, we have to see various factors. It means if any project is fulfilling following objectives, in that case we can say that yes, it is fulfilling the socio-economic aspects. So what are these objectives? The following are the objectives which will define whether a particular project is having socio-economic aspect or not. These objectives are: number 1, generation of employment, income distribution, foreign exchange savings or earnings, self-reliance, development of backward region, development of small scale and ancillary industries, development of infrastructure, development of technology, improvement of quality of life of general public or not. Once the feasibility study is over, on the basis of all these 4 aspects which I discussed you earlier, these aspects are: number 1, technical aspect, commercial aspects, financial aspect, and socio-economic aspects. Now the feasibility study is over, and then after studying feasibility study, the project appraisal takes place. In project appraisal, the technical and financial informations are compared and seen with the economic environment, and then the project is evaluated for acceptance or rejection. After project appraisal, the project report is prepared. The project report is prepared for applying loans for financial institution or getting approval from the government. However, the project report should provide the following information. Such informations are: name, address and other details of the entrepreneur, brief summary of the project, inputs of the proposed project, financial aspects such as cost of fixed assets, working capital, sources of finance, assets and liabilities. Next is cost of production and marketability, total income, net profit, etc., technological feasibility, licensing regulations, foreign exchange requirements, etc. And the last is importance of project to national economy, availability of government support, if any. Now, after understanding the feasibility study, the next step is preparation of business plan. Business plan is an important document prepared by the entrepreneur which describes various elements involved in starting a new enterprise. It is an integration of plans in various function areas like production, marketing, finance, sales, etc. However, business plan serves the following purposes. First is it provides a blueprint of actions to be taken in future. It guides the entrepreneur in raising the factors of production. It serves as a guide to organize and directing the activities of the business venture. It helps in measuring the progress of venture at successive stage. And the last is it communicates to the investors, lenders, suppliers, etc. the program of the business. So, the business plan should recognize the stakeholders of the proposed ventures such as customers, workers, suppliers, etc. and must try to meet their expectations. It should be prepared by keeping in mind the nature of the proposed business, size of the market, degree of competition, etc. However, the business plan should define the objectives, strategies, marketing segmentations, products and services to be offered. The plan should describe distribution system, promotion activities and pricing decision. A complete business plan should describe who is going to implement the product, pricing, promotion and distribution decision. In other words, it should identify employees responsible for the product development, sales management, promotion and distribution activities. Now the next step is launching the enterprise. After preparing the business plan, the entrepreneur will proceed to launch the enterprise. This stage involves the preparation of specification for equipment and machinery, placing order for equipment and machinery, appointment of contractors, project implementation, usually involves heavy financial commitments and effective project implementation, etc. After project has been launched, the operational phase begins, where there is smooth and uninterrupted operations of the project machinery and equipment, developing suitable norms of productivity, maintaining quality specification and satisfactory work progress. Now, thank you.
With this note, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much for giving us a productive session. Dear friends, we would be meeting again very soon and would be discussing more on the topic, more on the series. Till then, take care, goodbye. And yes, you can mail your feedbacks to us at info.cec@nic.in. Till then, take care, goodbye. Thank you. Thank you so very much.